Welcome back to episode 2 of the N Duval Podcast. I am here with News, and today we're going to cover a few debatable topics, including the coaching, the players, the upcoming schedule, and much more. And I'll throw it over to News with the first question.
One of the most embarrassing games I've ever watched probably was last Sunday against the Bengals. I mean, defense was terrible. Offense was, I don't even know they're okay, I guess. But were there really any positives out of that game?
I want to say yes, but I can't say there was many positives. The game, we kind of lost control of it, honestly, if you look back at it. I mean, you look back at what I said in episode 1, the keys to winning the game, we didn't do any of them.
Right.
We pretty much failed all three. I said feed James Robinson, get a consistent pass rush. I don't remember the third one off the top of my head, but I believe it was like just don't let Joe Burrow get going. Simple as that. I mean, we just yeah, that's for sure. I mean, Minshew put up good stats. Robinson did okay. We had statistically, we didn't really look that bad, but if you watched the game, we clearly were not there. It was not a competitive game, in my opinion. Like, really statistically, it looks like it was, but it wasn't.
It was more garbage time that we got some stuff. And, I mean, if we're talking, like, any positive type players, Miles Jack was showing off until he got hurt, unfortunately, with that great interception. I don't even know how he got it. That was pretty cool. Those amazing tippy-toe touchdown by DJ Chark. I feel like if we got James Robinson going, like you said, with one of the keys to victories, we could have – I'm not going to say we would have won if James was given more carries, but I feel like with a consistent run, we could have been a little bit closer than being so predictable that everybody knows that we're going to have to throw to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people are going to say, oh, Minshew threw for 350 yards. Okay. You can say that all you want, but I won't say half of those yards, but a good 125 of those yards came in garbage time. Like,
absolutely.
I don't care if you throw for 500 yards. What I care about is us winning the game. And that's why I said early on we needed to have James Robinson carry the load. Because how we would have won that game was run the clock down, keep the defense off the field, and just basically score maybe 10 to 14 points before halftime while holding them to about 3 to 6. That was basically our winning condition. We almost did it too. We started out pretty good, and then in the second/third quarter, we kind of lost our way. The game just kind of went the wrong direction. I don't remember specifically when, but I remember that first quarter. I mean, we looked good in that first quarter. It was 10-3 at the end of the first.
Yeah, and heck, when we got that first defensive try or whatever, we got a 3-and-out, didn't we? It was a 3-and-out. Either way, they didn't let up a touchdown or any points at all in the first go, and
that's right.
Yeah,
wasn't it the Minshew turnover?
Yes, it was. That's
right.
An interception.
And then the defense just stood like a stone wall. That's right.
Yeah, it was very. It was positive to see that, but it just went downhill from there. And people can say anything. We have multiple injuries. DJ Hayden's now out. I think he's on the IR for a while, and we don't know how bad it is. CJ Henderson went out. Luckily, he should be back Sunday. Miles Jack went out with an ankle injury, and hopefully he'll be back. And I'm guessing Josh Allen even got hurt. Now he's questionable to even play this Sunday coming up. And, injuries is a blame I can put, but it can't be when, even with those guys in there, we were still struggling.
100%. I mean, you can put injuries as part of the problem, but you can't put them as the sole problem. You can't blame injuries. I'm sorry. You have to have that next man up mindset.
Definitely, and it shows that our depth is not that good. I mean, with this safety position, I can't wait to see Jared Wilson out there. He's not going to be elite or anything, but he's going to be a lot better than what we've been seeing with Andrew or Brandon Watson that we've seen. And I don't want any injury. Obviously, I love DJ Hayden. He was good for the first 2 years he's with us. He has an off season right now, but I mean, I know they're gonna slide Trey into the slot, and then we're gonna push Chris and Sidney Jones out there, and I hope Sidney can come out and show that he's still worth a second round draft pick, and that Philly just gave up, and he's got a new home here. Because I followed his career in college, and I liked him in college. I just hope we can see something a little different next week, or sorry, this Sunday coming up. That's really all I can think about for positive wise towards this game. It was just disgusting what I saw, and it was embarrassing to say anything about the Jags. It was just sad all around. But I'm excited for Miles. I'm excited for DJ Chark. I'm excited to see more of James Robinson. And let's just hope this Sunday, even if we lose, I hope it's competitive and show that our guys would like to win. Because this game was just, it was hard to show any positives.
100%. I completely agree. It's hard to take away from that game and be happy at all. Honestly, it wasn't a fun game to watch. I'll say that much.
Absolutely. Do you think it's more of a coaching issue or a player's issue?
It's a mixture of both. The coaches are definitely slacking, and I do think we need some sort of revamp in the coaching area. But people also need to remember we're an extremely young team right now. I mean, I believe through 4 weeks we have the most rookie snaps.
I saw that, yes.
I mean, it's not by a lot. Like, there's a couple teams near us, like the Cowboys, Dolphins, all that. But I mean, still, we're obviously going in the right direction because we're giving the young guys reps. We're not going to build a contender overnight. It's just not going to happen. People don't understand we're a very young team. Everybody's still learning. I mean, even you look at, for God's sakes, our quarterback's only played, 16 total games now? I mean, I'm pretty sure that was, his 16th game?
Yeah, it's around there.
I believe so. If not, it was close. I mean, it's maybe, start-wise, possibly. But, I mean, then you look at, our leaders on the team are all in their mid-20s or low 20s even. We don't really have a true veteran presence. And honestly, part of that is on the GM, Caldwell, and the coaching staff, and honestly ownership, because they got rid of a lot of our veteran pieces, which anybody can say what they want on that side of it. It was good moves, yes. Was it bad moves, yes. You can argue both sides. I understand it was for cap reasons, but you shouldn't have got rid of every single veteran, because you need veterans on a team like this. You need them, especially somebody like Calais Campbell specifically is the one that comes to mind. Definitely. Having him on this team would have been huge for development reasons, obviously. Because he's a veteran, he's been around it, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's a class act, he's won multiple awards in league. He's just the guy you want in your locker room. And do I understand why they traded him? Because of his cap hit and such? Yes, I understand it completely. I understand that he wasn't part of the long-term success of this team, which is looking to be, I don't want to use the word dynasty, but looking to be successful for a long term, not short term. 2017, that was a short term success. The team was built on large contracts and a lot of young stars who were upcoming on contracts that we were realistically never going to be able to afford it. We weren't. So that was we kind of did our shot. We almost had it, and then you saw the downfall in 2018 and to come in 2019. But there's one subject I wanted to get into. Okay. There's one specific subject.
I'm ready.
So there's a lot of people who, they're all about Minshew, right? They want to keep Minshew. They think he's the future. All this, all that. I've been very open about it. If he wins us enough games to keep us in, maybe close to playoffs, in the hunt, okay. And then there's other people commenting, those same people, commenting about cleaning house with Caldwell, Marone, all these guys, right?
Right.
One thing that comes to my mind when you say that, what does a brand new GM and brand new coaching staff usually do once they get to a team?
Get their own quarterback.
Exactly. So these guys who want Minshew to be the future and be successful, if we fire Caldwell, especially before this draft, if we fire Caldwell, we fire Marone, we fire all these guys, clean house, you bring in a new young GM, there's a certain guy at the top of this draft who they will trade every single asset we have in this draft to go get. And I can promise you that. So if you guys really want Minshew to be answer, maybe you guys shouldn't be screaming for Caldwell's job. Because Caldwell is the best reason for us to keep Minshew. Because any GM we hire, they're going to want their own guy. I mean, look around the league. In the Giants right now, they're looking like they're close to cleaning house. Who they're going to drop Daniel Jones, who was number 6 overall pick like 2 years ago.
Yep.
Same thing in New York with the Jets. Sam Darnold was number 3 overall pick, I believe. They're looking to drop him now after 3 seasons. And then you look at Washington as well with Haskins. He played 11 total games and he's already down to 3rd string quarterback. And in all 3 of those situations, they're not going to be very competitive this year. They're probably going to be cleaning house. And all 3 of those quarterbacks are going to get dumped. Do people in Jacksonville really want that to happen?
We saw that with the Cardinals. They just drafted Josh Rosen. And then, what was it, the year after? They draft
it was literally the next draft.
They pick up Kyler Murray. I get it too. I love Minshew. I love his personality. I respect his game a lot. I can see he's trying his best. He's not out there trying to lose the game on purpose or anything. He's not lazy. He works out hard. We saw that in the offseason. But I agree with you. If you want to fire everybody, we're most likely going to lose Minshew. So all these people who
100%.
Want Minshew, you have to want Dave and maybe not Doug or Todd Wash, obviously.
We could, Todd Wash definitely should be gone. He has nothing to do with it. But I'm mainly talking like Doug and especially Dave. Because GM, he holds the keys. Like,
absolutely.
If we fire him, you give some young GM the ammo that we have in this upcoming draft, which is 2 firsts, 2 seconds, multiple 4ths, I think a couple 5ths even. Like, we have 11 picks, I believe it is. If you give them that ammo, and then you see, especially if we finish in the top 5, they will unload all that ammo to move up to number 1 and get Lawrence. I promise you. Because that makes him look like a genius GM on paper. That's just how it is. And that's how most GMs, that's how their minds work. They're not going to care how Minshew plays. They're not going to. Caldwell is the best option for those people who want Minshew to be the future. Caldwell is your best chance of keeping Minshew. And that's the truth.
And it's crazy to think about because all I've been hearing for the past few weeks are Minshew supporters yelling at me that we need to fire these guys. And I know that not all of them completely understand that, we fire Dave, and that means Minshew's most likely gone. I agree completely with what you're saying, and I do believe we need to fire Dave. We need to fire Todd. Marone. I'm leaning both ways for Todd or for Doug. But I say screw it. We clean house. We have to. Honestly, I'm sorry. We have to clean house at this point. We haven't had anything good since 2017, and I really think that was a fluke season, unfortunately.
No, you're right. It 100% was. It was a fluke. That's the best way to put it at this point. It was a fluke season. Because the team was not built to succeed long term. I mean, you look at the contracts we gave out that offseason and all that, or the 2016 offseason possibly, was it? I don't remember which one. I think it was a mixture of both. But you look back at it, there was no chance that team was going to sustain the success. It just wasn't.
And it sucks.
It's tough.
It sucks because I have a Minshew shirt with Minshew's face on it. And that should show enough that I supported this guy and I cheered for this guy and I hoped that this guy was the future. And who knows? Maybe for the rest of the year, he just turns out amazing or good enough to help us win. Maybe we go on a weird streak, go 8-8, and sneak into the playoff. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up. But if we have a losing season, we gotta fire Todd. We have to fire Dave. We have to fire Doug, and that means we may lose Minshew, and that's how it works. That's how the business works, unfortunately. And hopefully we can get Trevor, maybe Justin, or maybe even Trey Lance if we have to. We need a future. We need a star. We need to win. That's probably my best thing. We need to win. I'm tired of losing, man.
No, definitely. So I know there's a subject, speaking of winning, I know there's a subject that you wanted to touch on. I don't know if you want to jump into that.
Yeah, I got one that's probably gonna be a little longer than the other. I'll just get the short one out of the way real quick. With the Minshew thing, a lot of people want to, like, if anybody criticizes Minshew, they immediately throw it at somebody else, like the O-line. A lot of people are blaming the O-line for anything Minshew does. I've got a message the other day that they said the O-line is one of the worst in the league, and it's not. It's improved a lot since last year, and nobody wants to accept it because they want to blame it on something else. Minshew, all the mishaps for Minshew, the interceptions, any fumbles of his. One of Minshew's problems is he may have a clean pocket, and all of a sudden he'll just run. He'll just run out of the pocket for some reason. And people tend to blame the O-line when the O-line has been – they've been good. They're not been phenomenal. They're not the best in the league. They may not be top 10. But they've been good enough to give Minshew some time. They've been good enough to give Robinson some lanes to run. I don't know why people are going to put all this blame on the O-line when they've vastly improved. Andrew Norwell, improved. Cam Robinson, improved. By the way, he should be playing Sunday is what I heard. So hopefully he can keep showing he's improved. Once we get Linder back, that's a big improvement. AJ Cann, he's actually been playing decent. Juwan Taylor, he's been okay. He's had his moments, but dude's still pretty much a rookie. I mean, it's his second year, so I can't be mad at him. This O-line has been fine. We can't keep blaming other things for Minshew's mishaps. I love Minshew, and I hope he does the best he can for this team. But come on, the O-line is not that terrible. Secondly, people are really pissed off about Josh Allen right now. They think within 4 games he should have like 6 sacks and all these forced fumbles and whatnot. And just today alone, I've got like 6 or 7 DMs saying he's done nothing for this team whatsoever. And I think that's BS for multiple reasons. Because Josh Allen has been perfectly fine for this team. And it's hard when he's double teamed so often. I told somebody he's like 95% double teamed, and it's not obviously 95%, but a lot of the times he's double teamed because he's our number one guy. They see Caleb Vaughn and they can trust somebody else with him one-on-one. And Josh Allen has, as of right now, he has 2 sacks, 7 QB hits, 2 tackles for a loss. What more can you want from a guy who gets double teamed? He's our best pass rusher. There's no way that people can expect more from this guy. I mean, I get it. He's a first-round draft pick. He should be a bit better. Our secondary is letting everybody be wide open, and that's all you need in this league nowadays. 2 seconds. Boom. That's a slant. Like, Josh Allen is not having a terrible year. He's one of our best defensive players. Miles Jack is number 1. And honestly, I can't think of number 2, and it may be Josh Allen. And people are just angry, and they want to find any reason to be angry. And it's unfortunate that Josh Allen's getting the brunt of it just because he's not having superstar numbers. And that's all I got to say about that. It's just very, very annoying that he's getting so much hate for no reason whatsoever for a man who's trying his hardest to help this defense out.
No, I 100% agree. I will agree with you. Between him and Miles Jack, those are the two best players we have on defense right now. I mean, it's really not up for debate. You can argue Joe Sherbert's up there, but I mean, he's probably a solid number 3. I don't think he's better than Allen or Miles Jack right now.
Right.
And
Even
people need to
gets a lot of hate.
Also, people need to remember, D-line really don't stuff the stat sheet as much as people like. You look at a lot of defensive tackles, they'll finish a season with maybe 25 to 30 combined tackles. Meanwhile, they're the ones that are stopping the run consistently, simply because they plug up the holes and they do the dirty work. That's where the linebackers come in and get the tackles. People need to understand, Josh Allen has been lining up on the line since we drafted him. He isn't playing that outside linebacker role where in college he could stuff his stat sheet a little bit more. Like last year, he had, I believe, 44 combined tackles. It was somewhere in that range, 44, 45. And I mean, that was because he had more of a versatile role because we had Yannick and Calais basically taking the brunt of it. He was more open as a, you know what I'm saying? We could take advantage of his versatility.
Absolutely.
And people also need to understand this. He had 23 total QB hits in 2019 on 10.5 sacks. He already, through 4 games, has 7 this year. So if you look at it, he's actually on pace for more quarterback hits. So what's happening is these quarterbacks are just being able to get the ball off while he's hitting them. It's not that he's not getting to the quarterback. It's just the secondary is not holding up for him to clean up sacks. That's what it is. He's getting there, but he can't get the sack because the secondary, which I will say this for them, they're playing way too much zone, which is from Wash, not them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're getting throws off that they realistically shouldn't be. Because like if you watch, Josh Allen is getting to the quarterback. He really is. It's just he's not getting there fast enough simply because, well, one, the defensive line as a whole is kind of underperforming. Josh Allen specifically, not so much. But as a whole, they are underperforming. I will 100% agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to remember, with the secondary being the way it is, there's absolutely no coverage sacks happening right now. Like in 2017, yes, we had sacks in Phil, but a lot of them were coverage sacks. People don't understand that. Having the secondary we had in 2017 got us at least, I'll say at minimum, a third of our sacks that year. At minimum. Because the QBs couldn't get the ball off in 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds. They had to hold it for a good 5 seconds, which would allow the pass rush to clean up the sack and get there. It wasn't because this year, even though the pass rush, even if it gets there, by the time they get there, the ball's already in motion getting out of the quarterback's hand.
Absolutely, man. It's hard to tell people when they're just so angry. And trust me, I'm angry too. I wish this team was more competitive. They started off competitive. The first game, big shocker. And people got mad at me when I said that was an upset. That was an upset. We're supposed to be 0-16. And we're showing it right now that maybe we should be 0-16. And it's unfortunate because I hype this team up every chance I get. I try to be as positive as I can be for this team. I defend them almost 24/7. But at this point, dude, until anything changes, I can't be as positive as I want to be for this team. I'm Duval till I die, but like, it's killing me slowly, man. I just want some wins.
I hear you. We're going to keep saying it, but it's just time to win. I don't care how. It's just time to win. Put a good team on the field for once.
And we got some great-looking rookies that will
be good in years to come.
Right. So, honestly, in your opinion, which rookie has been making the most impact, and why is it Laviska Shenault?
Well, I mean, you said it yourself. It's Chenault. But, I mean, Robinson is definitely. But I will have to say Chenault simply off the fact of his versatility. I mean, the dude, he's such a weapon on the offensive. That's like the best word to use. He's just a weapon on the offensive side of the ball. Now, nothing away from James Robinson. What he's doing is insane for an undrafted free agent rookie. Insane. Like I will give the man as many props as I can, and he will probably get closer to the rookie of the year than Chenault. But for running backs, it's easier to put up stats simply off the fact they touch the ball a lot more. Same thing as a quarterback. Like, people need to understand certain positions on the field, they're more susceptible to getting to the ball. With a wide receiver, they'll be lucky if they average 10 targets a game. That's a lot. Most running backs, they touch the ball 20 times plus a game. So they have more opportunities to make a big play happen. They have, usually 2 times the opportunities. But with Chenault, with him having that versatility where he can run the ball, he can pass, he can probably pass the ball. I don't doubt it. He can catch the ball. That's something, by the way, I want to see that at some point. I want to see him in the Wildcat and make an actual throw. I'm curious to see if he has an arm. He seems like the type of dude that would. He seems like the type of dude. Like you've seen OBJ do it, Landry do it. You see, they had those arms. They're just out of nowhere. They just chuck it. But that's something I do want to see at some point.
I agree. I hope I see him in the Wildcat. And obviously, I'm joking when I said why is it Laviska, but it could be.
I agree with it.
Yeah. With all respect, though, to James Robinson, I agree with you. This dude came out of nowhere. Like I said last week, dude came out of nowhere, and I don't care what anybody says. Nobody saw him coming. Nobody saw what he's doing right now. Everybody thought we were going with Fournette, but here we are, and I'm happy to say James Robinson is my running back number 1. C.J. Henderson started off very, very hot. Then he started to cool down, and now he's hurt with a shoulder injury. I hope he can bounce back this Sunday if he's able to play. Devon Hamilton, as a nose tackle, he won't get as much love, but I'll give him some love. I've seen him hit some dudes, stop some runs. And I could go on and on. The only guy who's really been scaring me is probably Clay Brooks with his fumbles that he almost had, and obviously with his depth, he's probably not great to have on the outside. He's more of a punt return guy. I really do think that's why we drafted him, was because of what he can do on the punt returns or even kickoff returns. And I really do think it is Laviska and then James Robinson. So, yeah, I do.
They're like a 1A, 1B for me right now. It's both of them combined.
I'm just saying, I agree with you. With all of the things Visca can do, it helps him a lot to get his name out there and be a great competitor in the future.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. Right now, James Robinson probably is the better out of the two, but long term, I can see Chenault having the bigger impact. I can.
I'm super excited to see where these two can go in the future. Hopefully, we can get some better off. Actually, no, I do like our offensive coordinator right now, Gruden. He's been surprising us, and if Doug goes, I'm sure he goes too, but we'll see. Maybe we can get even better, younger, smarter. Not smarter. I'm sorry. Probably not the best term, but just somebody who's, I don't know how to describe it, but I'm just excited for those two's future.
Higher football knowledge.
Yeah, let's go with that one. But
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. And simple as that, I really can't wait to see where these guys can go one day. And hopefully they get a second contract if they keep it up. But luckily, that's a few years down the road.
100%. I think we'll do one more. What do you say? You got a good one?
I don't. I got my questions answered. Do you got anyone?
I think I have a good one to end it off.
I'm ready.
For you, what I don't know, this might come out of left field and you might not have a good answer for it. But if it was your choice, one, who would you fire on the staff, which you kind of half answered it earlier, and two, who would you replace them with if it was up to you?
Oh man, I would say Todd Walsh, and that's gonna be quick for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are gonna say Doug, but Doug hasn't really pissed me off as much as Todd has. We went from 2017 as one of the top elite defenses, and then you just see it slowly decline. And I understand we're young right now, but maybe we can get somebody better. And there's a name that won't come to my head, but he's not a young guy. But once I'm going to do more research coming in the next couple of weeks if we keep going downhill, and I'll be definitely able to give you a name that I will be wanting and watching for this future of this franchise. So as of right now, it's definitely Todd Walsh. It's hard to say. I really do think I would close it all right now. Everybody just gone, but you can't really do that week 5 into the season. And I would say Dave, but what is that going to do for us right now? You know what I mean? There's going to be no difference. So to answer that, I would fire Todd Walsh.
I knew it was a tough one. I knew it was a tough one for you. I had to hit you with it.
It was definitely a tough one, and I know later down the road I'll get you some names. I'll get everybody some names because there is some names, but I'm not 100% sure just yet.
Well, I can give you a couple names that I've or from an early on research. If we want to go younger, I would say the guy from San Fran, Robert Saleh. I'm pretty sure he was on our coaching staff at one point in 2017. I'm almost positive he was in 2017.
I'm not sure,
but a guy who I really think he got really disrespected is Jim Caldwell. How this dude isn't having a job right now, I don't understand. I mean, in his final 2 seasons in Detroit, he went 9-7 both seasons. He was above 500 as a coach from a head coach standpoint. He was a good defensive coordinator for the Patriots, I believe, long ago. I mean, that's going back years, but I mean, he's a coach who knows what he's doing. Like, I feel like he just got extremely unappreciated. Because I mean, you look at his coaching, he was never a bad coach. He was never on terrible teams. Now, is there a couple outlier seasons? Like one of them was with the Colts, yes. But sometimes the coach is not the problem. Like sometimes the roster just either gets hurt, doesn't perform, whatever it may be, whatever happens. But I think even if we signed him as a defensive coordinator, I could love that move. But honestly, if we do move on from our own, this is talking into the offseason, I would genuinely look into Jim Caldwell. Now, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, you want a younger one. For a team like this, not necessarily. We don't have, I mean, it's the truth. We don't have the best culture in football. From a team standpoint, we don't. Like we're up there in player fines. We've had a lot of me players. We've had a lot of problems with that stuff. But we need a guy like Jim Caldwell who has never, I mean, from off the top of my head, I don't remember him having any real problems. Like nothing for him to get fired worth. And then, I mean, he's a veteran. He's been around football his entire life. He was a pro player at one point, or I know he at least went to college. I don't know about pro. I believe he went pro, but he's been a coordinator and a coach. I mean, he's been a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. He's been around the block, is my point.
Right.
You bring him into this room, he has a lot of knowledge on football knowledge, like I said, that he can teach these young guys. And specifically the ones that come to mind are players like CJ Henderson, Josh Allen, Clavon Chason, like all these young guys who have immense potential, but they just need kind of like that little bit of like almost a boost.
I agree. That's honestly, it wasn't even a name I was thinking about, but now you're saying it and speaking some facts. I agree completely.
mean, to me, he was good. That's the truth.
I'll definitely, by the next few weeks, I'll definitely get some names. I have some names in my head, but I don't want to say it quite yet because I know we'll probably get into it more soon. But just know there are some head coaches, and there is definitely a defensive coach I got on the tip of my tongue. This one, I can't remember his name. He's an older guy, and I feel like he's being disrespected as well. And I'll definitely get into it and do more research on his former teams.
I think I know who you're talking about.
If you throw the name out, it may
Is it
help.
by any chance Wade Phillips?
Mm-hmm. There you go. Thank God. For the life of me, I couldn't think of his name, but there you go.
One thing I'm always good with is names.
I'm not. I'm better with faces. But yes, Wade Phillips is definitely who I'm talking about. That's who I have on the tip of my tongue. And I think he is personally, even he's out there on Twitter talking about, hey, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but he wants a job, and I think we're probably suited to have him with us.
We're definitely one of the top suitors, the way our defense is playing. I mean, there's multiple bad defenses in this league. I won't deny it. But, I mean, we have a defense that's very young. And for a veteran defensive coordinator, from my point of view, I feel like they'd want to come here. Because we have a lot of draft capital, and we're not afraid to take defensive players in drafts. We've shown that.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of potential on that defense side of the ball. You put a good system around these guys, I could see them being a top 10 defense within a year or two. Truthfully.
And I can't wait.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to end it.
I agree.
Any last remarks, or you're good?
Man, let's just hope this Sunday against the Texans, we can show them that we're not trash. We can show them that we can be competitive at least, and that's all I can say. Let's go Jags. Let's hope this Sunday is decent, and let's hope I can go to work on Monday with a smile and not a frown, and everybody talking shit to me about my team.